Hey everyone, welcome to the Promethean Tides. I'm General, and hello Breaker.
All hail the eternal undying scion of the infinite fractal state, long may be his reign.
You know, if that infinite Scion is Elon Musk, I will join your weird religion. Fuck yeah.
I will not allow you to summon the demon. I will run it over with my car. My car goes from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. I'd like to see a glow-in-the-dark CIA outrun that.
Yeah, this has been an interesting week for Elon Musk, and I think for the rest of the country. Elon seems poised to more and more to be taking Twitter. The left is, I guess they're trying to maybe block Elon Musk from acquiring Twitter, but I don't think that they have much of a leg to stand on. I think Elon is going to get it. I mean, it's not for certain, but I think he's going to take it. And I think some interesting things on Twitter itself resulted from that this week. So, yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah, I think if anything, they're trying to slow him down so they could cover up, deprogram, hopefully encrypt if they can't deprogram all the frickin' potentially illegal shit that they swore before Congress is actually in the Twitter algorithm, and they need to make sure it's not there anymore before he gets in. Because Elon Musk is just gonna smirk and take all those frickin' files and like drop them on the FBI's desk and say, like, your move.
Well, so I heard an interesting argument about this. So if I were a betting man, I would say that Twitter as an entity lied before Congress. Yes.
Yes.
But I think that what happened was they sent Jack Dorsey to Congress, and they made sure that Jack Dorsey actually didn't know what the hell was going on. And so they got someone to lie to Jack Dorsey, him being like the mascot of Twitter, but not an actual decision maker.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person who lied to Jack Dorsey, well, they weren't under oath. Like, you can say anything to anyone. So he went to Congress just misinformed. And so, technically speaking, the only lying that would occur is non-under oath, and so there is no... it's like a legal loophole, right?
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you the problem with that. Now, if I were going to, like, do that type of Guima worm-tongue Machiavellian level shit, what I would do is that, let's say they go to Jack and be like, okay, what did you know or not know? Did you lie before Congress? And Jack is like, no, I just reported on what B-Bob Grima Wormtongue told me. And he points to me, and I'm like, nuh-uh. I totally told him all of these things in this document, and he did lie. Like, prove me wrong, motherfucker.
I mean, yeah, well, okay, so if I were a betting man, I would say that Twitter probably lied before Congress, but that is, I don't know, hearsay or something. That's probably not the right word.
Speculation.
It's speculation, yeah. But what was interesting is that this I guess this week, just overnight, a whole bunch of people on the right gained a whole bunch of followers, and a bunch of people on the left lost a whole bunch of followers. Some things started trending on Twitter that had never trended before, like sports-related things. It's almost. And I'm not going to say for sure. It's almost as though someone at Twitter realized that they were about to be bought out by Elon Musk, and so they were scrambling to delete maybe some certain algorithms that were existing in the servers because maybe they realized that it was either very damning or potentially illegal, and so just overnight, boom, some of these algorithms went away. It seems as though it's the case. That yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a very simple question, but it has very grave implications for the type of people that may or may not, in our hypothetical scenario, be attempting to do something like that. Do you think that whoever at Twitter is like, okay, scrub everything now, everybody scramble? Do you think the person that's at least adjacent to being in charge of this whole cleaning crew operation, do you think that they haven't thought of the contingency, like, all it takes is one of these motherfuckers with a thumb drive in their pocket that's the size of their pinky nail to get me in deep shit?
Well, maybe they've thought about that. I mean, I would assume that they've maybe spent some time thinking about that, but I mean, maybe they just don't care that much because they they understand that it's not them that's going to go to prison. It would be one of their underlings. It's never it's never the mob boss that goes to prison. It's the guy 3 steps below him that is organizing the sale of drugs on the street, right?
Okay, and I'm saying that in this progressive utopian environment now pay very close attention to this. The type of work environment that Twitter has undoubtedly cultivated is very leftist and progressive. It's like they literally have explicit in their ideology a progressive stack.
And
so
in
the
addition to
person
that,
who's the stridest. Okay, go ahead.
In addition to that, I also saw a graph this week, and it showed that financial political contributions from employees of Twitter, 98.9% went to the Democrats. That's big skewing. That's not like, it's very heavily Democrat 80-20. That's only Democrat. There's one conservative guy that works there and he's the janitor, and that's all they have. But sorry, continue.
Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Because they're very explicitly biased and bigoted and they're not shy about telling you this to your face, I can guarantee you the motherfucker there that's the whitest, straightest, malest motherfucker there, with zero ambiguity, knows that he's at the lowest rung, the very absolute sub-basement of the totem pole. So it's going to be him that has the frickin' 1 terabyte flash drive the size of his pinky, that when he inevitably becomes the fall guy because he knows how these people work, he's going to just say to the FBI, what about this little microchip that proves all of what they've done so far? All the Twitter's going to be like, dun, dun, dun.
So it's going to be someone who is basically exactly Edward Snowden.
Someone like that. Because the white, straight, super male, super straight motherfucker, he knows with very little ambiguity that it's going to be, if anyone's going to be a fall guy, it's going to be him. I wonder how he would know that. Let's think for 2 fucking seconds about what the type of company Twitter is.
Yeah, they're Twitter is not racist, mind you. It's just that they do have a preference for certain people based off of sexuality and skin color and sex. It's not when they do it, it's not bigotry because it's in the correct direction. But yeah, that is.
Well, you're only partially right. I would say that they're not merely racist. They're also sexist and heterophobic, in addition to being racist.
Those are strong words, Breaker. I don't look. I know how it works. Okay, you can only be racist in one direction. Okay, racism is a one-way street. Okay.
Yeah, that lets you know that it's a political activist ideology that doesn't have little to no bearing on the actual real world and exists only in this rarefied domain of ideological puffery.
Can you imagine can you imagine the actual level of bigotry? Okay, you have regular racism, right? And it's just I don't like this color person. And then you have progressive racism. You can say anything.
You had to go to school to learn how to do that shit right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is like super high level like racism. Like it's abstract. It's like it's galaxy brain
That's
racism.
Ivy League racism. You have to develop a whole social contract theory where white men get a separate magical social contract that no other white man knows that they're getting, but they all know they have it deep down in their hearts. And you have to look at other people with a straight face and say that out loud.
Well, and not only that, but this is the best part of it, right? You can identify a segment of people that exists, and you can say that you can be as racist to this group of people as you want, or sexist or whatever, and it's allowed because you can't even be racist to that person. So anything that you do or say is fine because they're not even capable. They don't even have like the privilege points or whatever the fuck, or the anti-privilege, the victim points. They don't have enough victim points. That you could even attempt to be racist towards them. Like it's depraved. That's crazy. Like that's so beyond regular racism. It's roided up galaxy brain racism, and they can actually spread it because what they do is they use a bunch of jargon. You know, like they read too many like philosophy and texts and like sociology fucking works, and so they know how to use language and jargon in such a way that they can confuse just barely enough people that they can advance their policies. And that's how they do it. They use jargon. They speak in a form where it's like instead of saying like I sat on the couch, they would say like I ventured forward and I lowered my body down onto the plush piece of furniture in the middle of my living room. And it's like, oh God, why is this a thing? Why does this exist? We don't need this shit. This is terrible. But yeah.
You have to carry around like a special racism abacus inside of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, how many beads does straight white man get slanted off? That's like 30 beads. So I did to slide all those beads. I was like, wow, that's so many beads on one side of the scale. This person must be racist.
Yeah, so this is like communism applied, like progressives. A lot of aspects of progressivism seem like it's basically just Marxism applied to racism. And the thing is that it makes it a lot more complicated. You do have to walk around with an abacus because in Russia, you had a whole bunch of Russians, and it's a hard black or white. Are you the proletariat? Are you the bourgeoisie? I hope that you're in the right pile because we'll murder you if you're in the wrong pile. It's very simple, but in America, they had to make it based off of intersectional things. So, you know, are you half black? Are you a quarter Asian? Are you a man? Are you a woman? Are you somewhere in between? Are you gay? Are you super gay? Do you want to have sex with doorknobs? There's so many different interlocking, intersectional things that gives you the exact calculation of your total privilege score, and it's so Byzantine and it's so confusing that I don't think anyone can actually understand what the fuck is going on, and no one should understand what the fuck is going on because it makes no sense in the first place. But
well, unfortunately, or fortunately, or whatever your perspective is on this, they're kind of simplifying that, weirdly enough, with just white and white adjacent. Okay. If you say something that sounds white, like, throw the abacus out, they're white, bad, white equal bad. Just remember, you don't need the abacus if they're white. White equal bad in all cases.
That's
unless true. It's a progressive intersectional female. That's the only exception to the white equal bad in all cases. If it's a conservative woman, white equal bad.
I think I remember back in like 2015, 2016, feminism was a huge fucking thing, and people were talking a lot about it, debating about it. Feminism, more or less, I think is dead. I think it's been completely taken over by the intersectional branch of progressivism. Like it's like a cell. It's like an amoeba eating another smaller cell, and it's just completely fucking consumed it. And now feminism has become part of the Borg through the phagocytosis, I believe is the name of when a cell eats another cell. It's been a couple of years since I had to know that, but no,
the leftists are going to demand to see your PhD. It's like, you're not an actual scientist. We need to see your PhD. Yeah, sorry. But yeah, the feminism angle. You know what it was? It was that they stopped being able to control women just because they were women. Because, believe it or not, a lot of women were starting to figure out, it's like, wait a minute. I don't really need feminism because the entire world around me is already, like, preset up for my benefit anyway. So, what the fuck is this bitch talking about anymore?
Oh, dude, no one on Earth is more privileged than a middle-class American woman. No one on Earth.
Pretty much, but it just, women are kind of slow, so it took them a while to catch up, but when they did, they were like,
breaker means that strictly in the Olympic sprinting sense of the word, just objectively, men are faster Olympic sprinters than women are. That's all I meant by that. No misogyny here.
My soggy knees. My knees are extra soggy today. But anyway, yeah. Well, let's just say that women were so busy upholding the pillars of the society under us all once they were able to get into college and become CEOs that they suddenly became so busy they didn't have time to think about why they didn't really need feminism anymore.
Right, yeah.
Because they were just working so hard, you see, it's so many different things. By the way, you might want to edit that last part out.
No. I think it all stays in. It's fine. We're not saying anything too spicy. The intersectional part of progressivism, I think it's swallowed feminism whole, much like how your mother should have swallowed you, but it swallowed feminism whole. It seems to be like this Borg-like entity that it's capable of swallowing a whole bunch of things, and it's like this amorphous blob of different special interest groups. Like you have the LGBTQIAA plus, and then you have the Black Lives Matter, and you have Antifa, and you have feminism, and you have the corporate establishment interests of BlackRock, and they can all come together in this one united tent where I don't think that anyone really likes anyone else. And that's the modern day umbrella of the Democratic Party. Fucking brilliant. Oh, and on top of that, they because they're an amorphous group of people that really just want political power, they also have zero actual principles. They don't seem to like principles or want principles. They just kind of want to just do whatever gets them the most amount of power, and that's good. That's good for them. That's what they want.
And also, don't forget that the only real women are trans women. Trans women are objectively better at, like, look at the Olympics. All the trans women just win all of the fucking gold medal. Isn't that strange? I mean, if anything, this is empirical proof that trans women are just superior to regular women, and they're so far superior to regular women that they have a superior form of feminism that makes normal woman into misogynists.
That is an amazing thing. You know what? Here's the thing. We have no idea what a woman is, but we are damned sure that a trans woman is one. Yes.
Yes. Not only is a trans woman a woman, but she's like a platonic form of woman that graces us with her divine presence.
The the regular women that exist, they're but mere shadows of the perfection of the trans woman.
Exactly. Now you're starting to understand. Plato's Republic come to life in a way that even he would have been like, damn, this is pretty fucking gay, guys. And Plato literally wrote a fucking dialectic about Socrates, where Socrates looked at some fucking kid's dick flop around under his toga and got a case of the vapors. I'm not kidding, look at him!
Okay, I'll take your word for that. Anyway, on Twitter, that happened. It appears as though a lot of right-leaning people on there got a whole bunch of subscribers. The left-leaning people lost a whole bunch. I think that kind of more or less shows that it's not just that Twitter was propping up maybe the left and pushing down the right. I think that what this demonstrates is that more or less, probably since 2012 and maybe even before then, the Democratic Party and the entire left wing of politics, it's been astroturfed, and I don't think that it's actually nearly as popular as the statistics and the numbers say that it is. I think it's been astroturfed. I think it's a bit of a house of cards, and I think that it can actually implode pretty rapidly. Yeah, it's a little bit like a paper tiger almost.
Okay, here's how you tell. Any of the fucking data aggregators responsible for compiling the data to put those statistics together, if they say anything in their titles like future, progress, or inclusivity, or any of these fucking leftoid buzzwords, or if any of the actual humans behind this data aggregation have any type of name that either requires you, 1, to click your tongue, 2, to constrict your throat in a weird type of way, or 3, to roll your tongue across the roof of your mouth, it's probably bullshit.
Well, that's your opinion. Yes, absolutely. That's a spicy one.
Now you think that I'm just fucking with you and being like, oh, that fucking Breakier and his like chauvinism on display. But I swear to God, look into it. Like, fucking the Twitter bitch, JJ Gade, or what the fuck ever her name is. Like, whatever the fuck that name is, that's how you know that someone is full of shit. If the fucking company has a name like that in it, it's probably bullshit.
So, like how Al Jazeera is probably bullshit.
No, it couldn't be.
Okay, but here's the thing. I can very easily say Russia Today. And I think that they're slightly more accurate than Al Jazeera, but I think that it's a lot of bullshit as well. Also, CNN.
Well, they don't require clicks, tongue rolls, or weird constrictions of the throat. You see, that's how you can trust Russia.
Okay, I can pronounce CNN incredibly easily, and I actually trust them the least. So, I mean...
And if you see a robotic dog walking down the street with a loudspeaker on its back, blasting something in Chinese, it sounds like that weird constriction of the throat shit. That's how you know that's fucking Satan. Kill that thing.
No, dude. The robotic dog with the loudspeaker duct tape to its back. That's the thing I trust. You know, when you can't turn to your institutions anymore, when the world has gone mad and you can't trust anything, trust the robotic dog with the loudspeaker duct tape to its back.
Yeah, if you hear fucking tongue rolls like Radio Espantoso, you're either going to get stabbed or someone's going to try and enslave you into a communist tin hoarder dictatorship.
Okay, sure. Yeah, alright. We'll go with that.
But anyway...
So... It seems as though there's been a lot of astroturfing that has happened on the left side of things. I remember from during the time of the George Bush administration, I think that there was a lot of astroturfing on the right side of things. I think that the establishment they ruined the image of the Republicans, so then they had to jump ship and move to the Democrats because the Democrats had a better image back then, in like 2010, something like that. And now they've spread their shit all over the Democratic Party, astroturfed the shit out of it, and now they have an incredibly bad image. You know what I'd be really very wary of is the establishment coming back over to the Republicans now that they're starting to have a better image. You know what? I say, if I had any modicum of political power in the Republican Party, I would say, you know what? No. We reject the establishment. We're not gonna fucking take their money. We're gonna remain grassroots, and they can just stay in the Democratic Party and fester and die because if you don't let them back in, if you don't let them hop from party to party to party, then they'll just have to sit in the same fucking party, and it'll just keep looking worse and worse, and they will murder themselves.
This should probably be where we close out the political side of the show after we get into this one last thing, because, okay. Based on what a lot of you are saying, you seem to think that there is something resembling an actual, legitimately principled person somewhere that would come in and make something, like some party left or right, probably in your case, preferably the right, make all this fucking better somehow, with principles. Stick to it, bro. The problem is that, especially in modern democratic politics, like, by democratic, I mean democratically elected governments, or what at least appears to be. But that's all Trump's fault. Biden fortified everything. It's totally fine now, don't worry. But anyway,
Well, no. See, it's okay. It's exactly what they've been doing with Twitter. The 2020 election of Biden was completely fair. It was they maximally fortified the election to make it the most fair and balanced election of all time in order to elect the most popular president in history, Joe Biden. And they did so completely fairly, much like how Twitter has been run for the last decade. Just completely fair, completely balanced. It's just, those are the facts.
Well, be that as it may, and I will not dispute that, the problem I have with modern politics is you realize nowadays with like big data and all these like data corporations like the Facebooks and the Googles and stuff, people now know enough about the psychology of massive groups of people to more and more effectively, and by the way, this information is extremely valuable, and there exist people in the world with the proper sums of money to be able to pay for this. And the worst of your problems isn't the frickin' advertiser trying to sell you Coca-Cola more effectively. It's the types of, like, literal Grima worm tongues running around it. And these people are, mind you, totally apolitical. They're just on whoever side gets them the furthest into the political game. I guarantee you that if Joe Biden thought he had something to gain from switching parties, not only would he, well, maybe not now, but when he was more spry and aware, he would have just immediately 180, bang, like the bullet out of a gun, went to the fucking right wing, and it would have been so seamless that he would have just started sounding like a Republican literally the next day, and you would scratch your head and be like, I guess he's always been right wing, like a 1984 memory hole moment. That's how fucking quick those people could switch.
Well, I'm not I'm not quite certain of that because like I've seen politicians hop from one party to the other.
Surprisingly often.
It happens, but I think that they lose a lot of political momentum. So who was it? Was it Kasich or I forget who it was, but he was a yeah, I forget the exact guy, but I've seen it happen on both sides where it's like, okay, this guy used to be a Democrat, now he's become a Republican. You end up losing a lot of your political momentum because, like, you're in a new party with a completely different voter bloc. So it's kind of like you have to start over from scratch. It's like,
and it doesn't matter because then you just need to be a super high octane crazy version of that party to grab those people's attentions really fucking quick. Like if you go from Republican to left wing, you have to immediately go. It's like, remove all firearms from the entire country. Melt them down into a massive statue of a disabled, black, transgender person of color, and then give free hormones to all kids everywhere. Just airdrop them all over the globe. Literally everywhere there's humans. Sex change hormones need to be there too.
Well, I don't think that especially in the modern day, politicians can do that anymore because there's going to be a YouTube clip of them from 3 years ago saying that you know they want to put an M16 in the hand of every 5-year-old because fuck yeah, gun rights. So I don't think they can do that anymore. Maybe they could back in the day.
Have you seen YouTube clips of Joe Biden?
Well, Joe Biden's always been on the Democrat on the Democrat Party. It's not about what he said before. It's the fact that he has maintained party allegiance. He, like, the things that he said in the 90s would make
super predators.
Yeah, it would make the vast majority of Republican nominees blush. But it doesn't matter that he's quote unquote changed his mind on things. It's that he stayed with the party. By the way, same thing with Republicans. It used to be that they were all vehemently against gay marriage. Well, the country, I guess, kind of decided that yeah, gay people can get married, and now it's tough to think of any Republican that is actually trying to lead that fight and get it disallowed. It's not so much about an issue with changing your opinions. It's about an issue with changing parties. That's really the thing that I think will hurt a politician. Yeah,
I think you might be right on this, actually.
And by the way, I want to point out that, and I will say this right now. I am anti-gay marriage. I am against it. I think it's a really bad idea. That is to say, I don't think that gay marriage should be a legal thing. I think that if you're part of the the Episcopalian Church or whatever have you, and they allow gay marriage, then you can get gay married under the church. but I don't think that it should be under the law. And I will say the exact same thing about heterosexual marriage. I think that marriage should be kept strictly to the church. It should be a religious event. And I think that when it comes to straights and gays, when it comes to the government, it should be separated from the church, as all other things ought be, and you should just have civil unions. I say it's a semantic difference, but it's a difference that people fucking care about. And I guess, realistically, the government has no business in doing marriages, but the government can have business in doing civil unions. So, no gay marriage, no straight marriage under the government. It's all fucking civil unions. That's my position.
I was about to disagree with you, but then it suddenly came around. It's like, yeah, I think that's my exact position, weirdly enough. It's like, okay, there's no such thing as if you're talking about Abrahamic religions, I don't think there is a religion, like a major religion you could probably name off the top of your head in practice today in the modern world that in any explicit, totally unambiguous way allows for same-sex sacred unions between people of the same sex.
Don't the Unitarians allow it? That fucking weird group of Christians?
Okay, when you say weird group of Christians, there's enough, like, Coca-Cola Christians all over fucking America that if you look hard enough, you're eventually gonna find a motherfucker dancing with a snake and a motherfucker dressed up in a clown suit trying to sell you a Bible. I'm not kidding! The clown suit preacher exists!
It sounds kind of entertaining, actually.
Because it's fucking America and because capitalism, Coca-Cola Christians are gonna be fucking everywhere. I'm talking about the actual fucking doctrine from the goddamn Bible.
Right. So, in related news, at least I think it's related. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but Elon Musk bought Twitter, which was fuck yes. Elon Musk seems to have purchased Twitter. Like 90% certain it's going to go through. Now the issue is that, at least I believe, the issue is that Twitter was the propaganda arm of the establishment, and so what are you going to do when your arm of propaganda has been bought out? Well, you just make a new one and you put it into the Department of Homeland Security. So Biden has announced something called the Ministry of Truth. Sorry. They're calling it the Disinformation Governance Board. But Ministry of Truth. Either one, I think is fine. So they went ahead and they've announced that this week.
Okay, anyone listening to this, left-wing, right-wing, center, whatever the fuck you are, anything that government or organization says ever, automatically either just a barefaced 100% lie or specifically designed and manipulated to emotionally sway you in some way, but if rationally evaluated, will lead you to find that it is in fact a lie.
Almost certainly. Now, I
they're gonna lie to you they're gonna lie to you too, left wingers. They're gonna lie about my diversity and my inclusion shit too. Don't fucking you're basically apparatchiks of the state its fucking self at this point. So I want to see a real fucking anarchist communist. Like, fight me, motherfucker! I'm here.
I think that actually, just given the name that they gave it, the Disinformation Governance Board, I don't think it's possible for this organization to say anything that is true or even truth adjacent. I think that it is...
Well, it's the governing body over disinformation.
Yes.
They literally named themselves the Ministry of Lies.
They couldn't even go for a full Orwellian on it. They could have said Ministry of Truth.
They backslid out of... That's what made the Orwellian moniker so effective. But they went half-ass, like, never go, like, half retard. Contrary to what the Robert Downey Jr. blackface might have told you. If you're gonna go retard, just go the whole way. Just grow some fucking balls, because literally this is, if translated from bureaucratic shit into English, the Ministry of Lies. They are so monumentally stupid that they did the exact opposite of what you're fucking supposed to do!
Yeah, it's like 1984, but with Down syndrome.
It's like 1984 and Idiocracy had a baby, and it had, like, double Down syndrome.
Yeah. Just absolutely, another work of brilliance from the...
Come on, man! The Ministry of Disinformation is going to tell you what the truth is. Just like those kids that came up to me in the pool, and they rubbed my legs, and their hands stood up toward bottom of the sun. Come on, man!
He's got hairy legs,
America.
man,
That's right.
The thing.
The thing, man. The Ministry of Disinformation is the only place that you could trust for all of your disinformation needs. I mean, to tell the truth about kids touching my legs at the pool. America.
Like, I'm imagining like a commercial for it. Like, hey, do you want some really high quality disinformation? Do you want lies shoved down your throat? Do you want to have no idea what's going on? Come on down to the the disinformation governance board. We'll give you everything that you need. Do you want propaganda? Oh, we got propaganda. So that was a thing this week. I think that is it's such a gross overstep of executive power. I mean, it wasn't. This didn't go through Congress, obviously. This was just a rubber stamped executive power thing. It's such an overstep. I think there's zero chance that it will continue to exist when it is inevitably challenged in the courts. It'll probably end up on the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, I fucking hope, will give a 9-0. There's 9 justices on the Supreme Court, right? A fucking 9-0 vote that this shouldn't be done. But of course, it won't be. It'll if this ever goes before the Supreme Court, it will die, but it will be split apart between partisan lies, and it will be the lefties that say, "Oh no, it's totally constitutional," because that is what the Supreme Court has become. So, yeah.
Wait a minute, don't we already have a Ministry of Disinformation? It's called fucking Google.
Well, you see, yeah, but it's okay. You know how, like, in communist China, they have members of the CCP be on the boards of every single company so that the government can, like...
Oh.
Yeah. So,
basically, like, fascism.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, what I think that what's happening is that America has, like, Google, right? And so it's like kind of free market, kind of controlled by the government, in that, like, you know, weird area in between.
Basically fascism.
Well, I mean, if you want to call it that.
I mean,
it's that weird uncanny valley in between the government and the economy that makes it inherently evil. And
it's like Hitler after he shaved his mustache, but he has one of those little pieces of toilet tissue because he nicked himself with a straight razor. And the mustache is kind of growing back, but there's scar tissue there. So the Hitler mustache can't fully grow back as it was, so it's kind of crooked. So when you look at him, you're like, is that Hitler? I mean, the mustache isn't like perfectly rectangular, so I guess not, but it kind of looks like Hitler. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the uncanny Hitler. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I understand perfectly now.
Yeah, so, you know, the U.S. government, they said, you know what, we're not going to play things so discreetly anymore. You know, we're not going to have this corporation that is the Ministry of Truth, but technically speaking, like, we don't entirely run it, but technically speaking, we kind of do. No, they're not doing that anymore. Fuck that. We're just going to institute our own Ministry of Lies, and I'm sure it'll work out. Everything that's being done, all of this shit that has happened, like especially this week. This week has been a massive week in news. It tells me that the institution is beginning to crumble. Why would they do something so desperate and so just non-sensible? I mean, it looks like insanity. I think that this is the institution beginning to crumble under its own weight of bullshit.
Well, with Alzheimer's howdy doody in the White House, I mean, is it a surprise?
And finally, they have a director for the Ministry of Lies. That is Nina Jankowicz. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. I'm not the best with...
Wicks with a Z.
It's W-I-C-Z. So is it Wicks or is it Wiz?
It's Wicks.
Wicks. Jankowicz. Jankowicz.
Yeah. I think it's Polish, but we had a discussion before we started recording about...
It's probably Russian and or Polish. That would be my guess.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
I mean, what I read online is that I think that it is Russian or Polish, and I'm gonna stick with that. I think it's fine. So anyway,
I do.
Heading the Ministry of Lies is going to be Nina Jankowicz, of course.
Well, I think you mean the Ministry of Disinformation.
The Disinformation Governance Board, if we're being completely on the level. So
they're going to govern disinformation.
So she's the one that's going to be deciding which disinformation to feed the American public, and I think that's really great. And
I think you mean which disinformation to protect the American public from.
Oh, right. Yeah, no. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's totally, it's all, they're only trying to do good things, guys. Don't worry about it.
This is for your safety, just like the Patriot Act.
That's exactly right. And you want to know something? God, the Patriot Act was at least better named.
Yeah, the Patriot Act, they actually tried to be Orwellian.
Mm-hmm.
With this, they're just like, they kind of tried, but then forgot what irony was, so they just circled back into sincerity.
Yeah. No, it's like if you they might have well have just named it the Board for Determining How to Propagandize You in Council, and
I'll tell you this: they became post-ironic in the worst way possible.
Oh man, yeah, they did. They're full post-irony now. Like they ran right past. Wait, which comes first, meta or post-irony? I forget.
Meta-irony, you don't even want to know. That's what my avatar is on Discord. If you ever see my avatar, that's meta-irony. It will take me 30 minutes to explain to you everything so ironic about this image. Your head will fucking explode.
That's about 2 layers of autism too deep for me. But yeah. So Nina Jankowicz, she's going to be the director of this. I have no idea why. I mean, could they? Is she really the most qualified person that they could scuttle together for this? I guess. I don't really have that much to say about her. I don't know that much. I've seen a couple clips of her going around. One of which was she said that the executive branch, and this was when Donald Trump was in office, of course, she said something along the lines of the executive branch should not be able to tell us what is fake news, something along those lines. And so, of course, when Trump is talking about fake news, then, it's a massive overstep of the executive branch to even be talking about what is or isn't fake news. But when Biden gets into office and he wants to create an entire ministry of truth in order to do exactly that, and he wants to, like, he's not just spouting his opinions on Twitter, he's actually making a fucking ministry to do that. Oh, well, that's fine and dandy then, and she wants to be director of that. I mean, the fact that woman would be able to make that statement and then take this action, that tells me that she is crazy, and that's it. She's just a crazy woman. She's not logically consistent, and that's it. I don't even want to speak ill of her. I'm just writing her off as being crazy. I'm not going to pay attention to her. Like, not even worth paying attention to. That's my perspective.
For all the listeners unable to keep up with the eternal Red Queen paradox shell game that is the term fake news. Okay, fake news first started by all the mainstream media talking heads as a way to discredit Trump. Then Donald Trump actually used the term fake news against them. So then they had to take their own term that they just made up to discredit him, pretend that he came up with it, and then be dead set against the whole concept of fake news and claim it was a conspiracy theory for 4 fucking years. Then, after Trump, fake news immediately does a 180 pivot back to being what they originally wanted it to, and it is so pernicious and prevalent in American society that there should be a government oversight committee to make sure that this fake news does not get out of control.
Yeah, a good breakdown, and I like your analogy of the red queen hypothesis, because that's the one that states that you have to run as fast as you can just in order to stay in place. It's this new vector that it's bullshit that's piling on top of bullshit, because I think the people in power realize that they could weaponize the hell out of bullshit, and so we have a bullshit arms race of just slinging bullshit back and forth, and it's
to put this in even more biological terms, it would be like if you had the monarch butterfly, then the victory butterfly came and mimicked the monarch butterfly, but then there was another butterfly after that was like, you ain't got shit on me, and mimicked both of those butterflies even more effectively.
No. What I think it is that the monarch butterfly was like the real thing, and then the victory butterfly it mimics the monarch butterfly, and then another butterfly mimicked the victory butterfly. That's butterfly C, and then butterfly D mimicked butterfly C, and then at this point we're like at butterfly W, and at this point the butterfly W looks nothing like the original monarch because it's a copy of a copy of a copy, and that's why just everything looks so insane at the moment. Why it appears as though we're living in a clown world, because it basically is. It's a copy of a copy of a copy, and it's things. It's a lossy copy. Things are lost in the translation. So.
And now the predators look at the butterflies. They're like, I don't even know what to fucking eat anymore. I'm gonna eat something else.
Yes, it just. You know what? Maybe World War III is literally just fought with bullshit. Who knows? But
and then all the insectivore predators that ate the butterflies are like, that's it. I'm gonna switch to eating, I don't know, fucking lizards. Fuck butterflies. I'm gonna eat lizards now.
Well, or the predators eventually just turn around and they go, you know what? I'm eating all butterflies. I don't give a shit anymore. Then actually the entire strategy would just tank for everything, making
and that's why warrior sperm don't exist in humans. Because they reached energy equilibrium, and it was like, okay, I could either invest energy in doing all these different strategies, or I could just swim to the fucking egg. Fuck it.
Oh yeah. In for a sperm, when you're part of, I mean, I don't know how many sperms are ejaculated at once, but it's like billions.
Several million. Yeah.
Yeah, some number. It's a lot. So because there's just so many, the optimal strategy is not to like try to fight another individual sperm, because there's so many sperms. The best strategy is just try to fucking outrace them. Yeah.
And there probably were warrior sperms. There probably actually are something like warrior and blocker sperms occasionally, but they're so ineffective that the sperms that are just like, fuck it, I'm going in a straight line until I die, are actually more successful.
Yeah, I think that's probably why literally all sperm do is swim. And they have a very strong tail, and they just swim, and that's all they do.
There you go.
Although, thinking
Now, certain species, their sperm grows several tails, so they do compete in that way. It's like more tails equal faster.
Does more tail equal faster? I'm not even certain if that would be true. I mean, if...
That's how canine sperm looks. If you look at canine sperm, it has 2 tails.
Does it really?
Yes.
I had no idea. Wow.
Because if you look at canine mating, they're like so fucking hyper-competitive and aggressive. But it's also because they have like very obvious heat cycles. It's like, okay, everyone jump on the female now. So they're like aggressive to the core.
Here's another interesting thing about dogs and I believe wolves. They have one of the only examples of a transmissible cancer. It's a cell. It's a cell from a dog that is a cancer, but it's an STD. Like it's from like some ancient dog that was like from millions of years ago. At least I think it was millions of years ago, and it had cancer in its genital area, and one of those cells latched on to another dog it was having sex with, and then that cell started to reproduce in the new dog. And so it's actually cancer as a spreadable disease.
Actually, cats have that too. I think that actually goes back to the common ancestor.
Cats do not. No, I don't think that the cats have that. I think that there's 2 cases that I'm aware of where you have a pathogenic cancer. And that is...
Well, they call it feline AIDS, but I don't think it's actually AIDS.
Well, I don't think that that's actually cancer either. And no, it's not AIDS, but it's I guess it's similar to AIDS. No, I think the only 2 instances where you see pathogenic transmissible cancer is the dog and the Tasmanian devil. However, with the Tasmanian devil, it's actually on the face instead of being an STD. As far as I know... I learned about this back in 2014, and I haven't really looked at it since. So maybe new research.
Okay, we derailed the whole fucking show, and now we're talking about canine dick cancer. So what the fuck happened?
Well, hey man, I actually find canine dick cancer to be a very interesting thing, personally. But
the problem is that this time I'm drunk.
Breaker, I need you to control the conversation. What the hell?
I drunk 5 Shock Tops and a Topo Chico hard seltzer. Fuck you.
Okay, well this is going to be more one of the more energetic episodes then. Fantastic.
You're goddamn right.
Breaker, the more that you drink, I think the more of Alex Jones' spirit you embody.
I also can put chemicals in the water that turns the frickin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Lord, what should I do? Destroy the child. Corrupt them all. This is their plan, people. These are demons. Just like the Bible said. It's all the ancients said. It's what they warned us about. They're demons, okay? Hillary Clinton is a goddamn demon. We are going to elect President Linda Blair, people, and I'm not gonna go along with it.
Okay, all right. I am a gorilla. Murder yourself, I think is my.
I am a gorilla. Murder yourself.
Okay. So, moving ever so swiftly to the next topic. This is not something that I've been following. Not something that I really care that much about. It has some political implications, especially in regards to maybe the Me Too movement or hashtag feminism or something. But the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, I guess, kicked up this week. It's gonna keep going, I believe, for like the next 5 or 6 weeks or something like that. So
there was human fecal matter on my bed.
I saw that clip. Yeah, it's
the defecation. The defecation.
I mean, when you
the fucking security guard, the lawyer was cross-examining the black security guard, and you could see him, like, when he was asked about it, he kind of paused and looked up left to right. And he was like, how do I say this on national television with millions of people watching? The defecation.
the defecation. So, it appears as though, like, I remember hearing about this, I think back in 2019, and I looked into it a bit, just because it was interesting, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, Amber Heard seems like the guilty party, whatever. And so I haven't really looked back into that since now. It's been like 3 years, and I guess now everyone's interested because there's a court case. But I was always just of the assumption that Amber Heard was probably the greater wrongdoer in this couple's spat. And yeah, I think that she kind of seems like a crazy bitch. I don't know. I think that
because the trial is happening in the state of Virginia, is one of the reasons I think Johnny Depp will probably pull out a win on this. Because the standard, this is not legal advice, I'm not a lawyer, but the standard for slander in the state of California, the bar is so astronomically high that in order to prove slander in a fucking court, you literally have to have them recorded basically literally saying, I, full legal name so-and-so, by saying this about full legal name so-and-so, intend on maliciously slandering this person and besmirching their reputation. In California, you literally have to have someone recorded saying that verbatim in order to make it stick, because the bar is so fucking high.
Yeah.
But in Virginia, that's not the case.
Yeah, it based off of the limited amount of things that I've seen about this, because again, I don't care that much, but it seems like Amber Heard is probably not going to win this trial. I also want to point out that everything this week has been about Elon Musk. Fucking Grimes, who he produced babies with, was on the Lex Fridman podcast. Amber Heard apparently
Grimes is a female version of me. Anyone watch that Lex Fridman episode? I think it's episode 281 of the Lex Fridman podcast. Anyone that's been watching this show and listening to my dumbass, Grimes is literally a female version of me, and I was fucking shocked. It was just like, if I were an attractive woman
who could
and
sing
was
good,
slightly smarter and more charismatic, I would just be Grimes.
Unfortunately, Breaker, you were not born with the attractive woman who can sing good attributes, and so I'm sorry.
Well, how dare you assume my gender? I mean, I'm trans. If you remember our morality conversation, and now I identify as Grimes.
I honestly, you know what, Breaker? I bet you wish that you were Grimes, because then you could make babies with Elon Musk. I'll tell you what, if I could make Elon Musk babies, I would do so, but I don't have the aperture to successfully do that.
And I would name the babies weird, fucked up names that make no sense, so that you know they're from an upper echelon, elitist fucking family. Like, who would name their kids 5, 6, 7, 8? No rational person would fucking do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, interesting little bit here. I went to high school with so there were these three Asian kids. I don't know what type of Asian. I don't know, Chinese, Japanese, something like that. Maybe Korean. but their dad was a...
Oh, not garbage Asian, not like Laos and...
Okay, we're not taking it there. Everyone is exactly the same all the time, and we love everyone. But
I forgot. Like we're really egalitarian on this podcast, so I forgot. It's like all humans around the Earth are perfectly equal. There's nothing different. Fuck it.
We all hold hands and sing "Kumbaya." Yes, absolutely. Because that is.
We are the children.
That's right. Yeah, and so anyway, their dad was a famous. I don't know how famous, but he was a quantum physicist, right? And they had 3 sons, and they named them Quantum, Quasar, and Quark, and with the Q names. And you know what? Actually, the kids were at least in high school when I kind of more or less knew them, or I didn't really talk to them very much, but they were really bright and they excelled in the math classes and the physics classes. So that got me thinking, like, shit, I should name my kids like fucking Darwin and natural selection. Like maybe that does something.
You know what? I would name my kids Your Father's Future Welfare Plan.
That's...
and I would name the other kid Beer Money, and I would name the third kid More Money for Your Father's fucking electronic music habit, because that shit's expensive. That verbatim.
That an interesting commentary about the modern day welfare state. Yes. So anyway,
and the fucking runt would just be named Give Dad Money.
Anyway, I also wanted to point out that apparently Elon Musk had a threesome with Amber Heard, and I think it was Grimes. I'm not really sure, but apparently a threesome went on.
Oh no, it's a scandal. It's salacious. It's celebrity gossip. You heard it here first, folks.
Well, right, but shit, like, dude, Elon Musk fucks. Like that dude.
Well, Elon Musk was donating $500,000 in Amber Heard's name to try and meet her fucking obligation for her because she's a fucking irresponsible, drunkard, drug addict bitch that shits in people's beds.
I mean, she's crazy, but I mean,
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was a court psychologist, and they said that Amber Heard had a borderline personality disorder, which
shocking.
That lines up perfectly, right? Like, wow, I can't believe that she has.
I know, it came out of left field. Like, who saw that coming?
Yeah, no, wow, what a surprise. So,
oh man, who'd have thunk it?
Yeah, so I don't have any further thoughts on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. I don't know if you do. I'm not really that interested in it, but it did get a lot of coverage in the news this week.
Johnny #1, Johnny for the win. Johnny Depp did nothing wrong.
I don't know if he did nothing wrong. I just think that out of the two parties, he seems like the guy who did
anything wrong.
Yeah,
it was getting in a relationship with that crazy, stupid bitch to begin with.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's completely innocent. Like, I don't know. It just seems like between the two parties, Amber Heard is probably the crazier and more violent one. So, yeah, that's it.
I'd also noticed, because I watched cross-examinations of several of the bodyguards for Johnny Depp, and the prosecuting attorney, the prosecutor is basically, to put this in the most YouTube acceptable terms, a very special individual. So, I could see what he was attempting to do, because he was asking certain questions about, has Johnny Depp ever given you gifts in excess of $8,500? Like, why $8,500? I don't know. Maybe it was, like, in his fucking I think what it was is it was in one of his notes. It's like, bring this up because this, and this reason. But he was too fucking stupid to grasp the further implications of how he should bring that up. So when the guy answered, oh, he gave me a lot more than that, the fucking Scottish bodyguard, oh, he gave me a lot more than that, laddie. It's like, he didn't say $8,500 exactly as my note says. So I will now move on with other questions. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I think it's surprising to me how bad lawyers can be at their jobs, especially with these like big cases where you kind of expect like the best of lawyers to like come to the table. Like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp have money, like they can afford good lawyers, and then you kind of see that actually some of these legal teams they suck. I remember with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, like Kyle Rittenhouse's lawyers, like they seemed decent, like good, but the prosecution, it was a dumpster fire. Like my God, it looked like they really hadn't done much work. Like they were handling the case.
They shot themselves in the foot several times with the witnesses they fucking called.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like the one guy that they called, and the guy's testimony under oath was, well, he did say "fuck you" and then reach for his gun.
Right? Yeah, it's not the best. Not really and something that you want the witness saying.
The best thing the prosecution had on Kyle Rittenhouse was like a shitty, granular, like Super Mario graphic level drone footage video that was enhanced so much that even their own expert fucking witnesses testified, aside from the fucking cops and FBI agents, that just looked like fucking brain-dead ogres on the goddamn stand. It's like, oh Kyle Rittenhouse bad. Officer Shrek say Kyle Rittenhouse looks like a murderer. And that's the best they could fucking dig out of their fucking like state apparatchik fucking pocket to testify against him. And the actual experts that know how video technology actually works was like, okay, basically there's so much artifacting and inclusions from this fucking program that whatever that 5-pixel wide blob is just a complete invention by the fucking algorithm to put something there that looks like something that belongs on a human body.
Yeah. No, I remember that, and actually, I think that neither team of lawyers, defense or prosecution, had enough technical knowledge to argue one way or the other. But actually,
that's why the defense just came up with the slogan, "Hocus pocus, out of focus," and that was the "if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit" moment. That won the fucking thing right there.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the clincher, but it was a major thing that set the prosecution back. They also did a thing where the video that the prosecution showed was actually at a higher resolution than the video that the defense was given. And like the whole thing about trials in America is that
that should have been prosecutorial malfeasance right there.
It should have been, because the whole thing about how you do a fair trial in America is that the prosecution and the defense are working with exactly the same evidence. You can't come up with like different evidence on day 3 as like a surprise thing. No, that's why you go through like all
discovery.
That's why you go through the discovery. That's you. They both have to be working with the same pool of evidence. And when the prosecution showed a higher resolution video that actually revealed more than the video that was given to the defense by the prosecution, and then that was found out in court, Jesus Christ. I mean, that's...
You know what was even worse than that, if you paid really close attention? The prosecutor who brought that up on his, presumably his personal laptop, when he brought that up, in the window he pulled up on his Windows laptop, There was literally a program right under that was like a movie maker editor software.
Oh, that's
It
right.
was basically like having Photoshop right underneath the fucking thing. It's like, I made all this up in 10 minutes behind the fucking stage.
Yeah. Oh God, what a fucking trash fire that was. I'm so glad that Rittenhouse got the what I believe to be the correct verdict. Because at the end of the day, what did he do? He shot like 2 pedophiles.
He shot a convicted pedophile that was trying to grab for his gun and kill him, that had repeatedly threatened to fucking kill him the night prior, several hours ago. And he shot someone who hit him over the head with the metal trucks and wheels on a fucking skateboard. And he shot someone, a convicted felon, that should not have been in possession of a firearm, that was never brought up on charges for being caught on video with a firearm that he was not supposed to even be in possession of, because he was a convicted fucking felon that pointed the gun at him and said "fuck you" and blew his arm off. That's the 3 people he fucking shot.
Well, right, and the Kyle Rittenhouse, he had his day in court and he won, but I remember the 2 other cases that were happening around this time. So there was the
oh, you mean Magic Black Man that ran people over, and like the SUV just got a mind of its own, like Maximum Overdrive, and ran the people over itself, and there was no human in control whatsoever. It just it got out of my control, officer. I didn't know what to do. Shit.
No, okay, I wasn't talking about that. Although that is one of those interesting things where it was a little bit like the very recent New York subway shooting, where okay. It is specifically
that guy was a Kang. No, he wasn't a Kang. He was like a Uber meta Kang.
Yeah. It's one of these things where he's a person of color, and he seemed to be radicalized to hate white people, also known as non-peoples of color, and he did terrorism, and then that just doesn't exist in the news cycle. It goes away. It just overnight. Just no one wants to talk about it because, look, I can guarantee you that if the New York subway shooter guy was a white person who was radicalized to be like an alt-right white nationalist or something, they would be condemned 24/7 for the next 2 months on the media cycle and would be brought up all the time. Now, here's the thing.
You know what he actually was, if you look into his videos, because he was like a somewhat prominent underground YouTuber. Oh. If you look into his videos, which you can find these archives, just look up that guy's name and do some searches, preferably on a non-Google related thing like Start Page or something, and you'll find it easier, just so you know. FYI. But that guy was basically like, black people, for all intents and purposes, should go back to Africa. That was the main thrust of his opinion.
That's an interesting take. So, anyway, my point is that I don't think that, regardless of your political beliefs, I don't think that you should go shooting people up ever. And
we disavow terrorism and violence of that nature on this program.
Right. It's just that it's weird that, like, I think that all, like, when it comes to terrorism, I think that it should all be handled in the media with the exact same take. It's weird that certain types of terrorism for certain political ideologies we will just move past ever so swiftly and not talk about anymore because it's just not that important. And I just, that's a weird thing to do. I don't like
That's
that.
why you're not going to see his YouTube videos where he talks about the black man shouldn't live with the white man and should, for all intents and purposes, go back to Africa. You're not going to see that on CNN.
Well, if he's so interested in going back to Africa, why didn't he then go back to Africa? He had an opportunity to do so, clearly. Like, instead of shooting people, he could just take a boat. It's not that hard. Like, you can go to Africa for like $500. You know, like, it's not.
I mean, this is my personal opinion as to what his motivation could have potentially been, but it might have had something to do with the vast majority of Africa being a quasi dictatorship in most of the countries in Africa. If not a full-blown, full-throated dictatorship where they explicitly say, do what we say or else.
Well, yeah, I can't...
Maybe that had something to do with it, I don't know. That's just speculation.
I mean, I can't personally think of a country in Africa that I would want to move to. They all seem to be kind of poor and lacking in infrastructure, and just not. Also, it's hot. It's hot as fuck. Also, there's like malaria there and shit. I don't think that there's any place in Africa that I would actually want to move to. I would much rather stay in America myself.
By the way, Afrikaans is a very easy language to learn. So if you ever want to go to South Africa and live with other South African white people, because the black people in South Africa, not the biggest fan of the white people in South Africa, in case you weren't up to date on that information, but Afrikaans is a very easy language to learn. And by the way, most of the middle to upper class white people in South Africa just speak English anyway, so if you want to be shot at by communist black people, I mean, occasionally, but that's the only downside. That and the heat, I guess. Yeah, there you go.
Well, you know, I mean, it's a choice, right? Here in America, you can get shot at by a whole bunch of white communist Antifa members, or you can go to South Africa and be shot at by black communists, or China, and you can be shot at by Asian communists, or Cuba, you can be shot at by Latino communists. There's so many places where you can be shot by all the different rainbows of skin color when it comes to communists. They're all wonderful.
Well, I guess South African communism would be the best because with like the breakaway civilization down there, at least you're not paying as many taxes as you are in America. The rest of them are so racially homogenous, especially China, that even among the Chinese people that are more libertarian, you as a fucking round eye wouldn't be thought very highly of, even by the most libertarian of the Chinese.
No, yeah.
They're kind of racist.
No, the Asian people be pretty racist.
Shocking, I know.
Yeah, very shocking. But they do be kind of racist. Even like the Japanese, the most like westernized of the Asian countries, they're pretty racist. I would even go so far as to say that statistically speaking, if I was a betting man, I would say that your average Japanese person is more racist than your average American. I haven't looked at the studies, but that would be my guess.
The thing about that, it's funny that you mentioned the Japanese, because there was something we were going to bring up, but I think that was an after show thing.
Yeah, so
I mean, okay, what else do we have to talk about, like the main show?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much run through most of the news of the week. So I guess that with that, we're going to end the show here, and we will pick up with a discussion about a movie by Studio Ghibli called Spirited Away. So we had this idea that we could watch a film that has some sort of cultural importance to it, and we could discuss it, maybe over a couple beers, and just have fun with it. Not as serious of a discussion. So that's I guess, yeah.
Please tell me that you wrote down the characters' names.
I wrote down the main character's name. and her second name as well. But yeah, so we're gonna do that. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much going to be it for this episode. I hope that someone out there appreciated last week's episode. It was.
Oh God! Don't even. I couldn't even make a fucking clip out of that. That was just a fucking dumpster fire. Fuck that.
Well, it was a little bit of a dumpster fire. If you don't appreciate theoretical tax policies and a discussion about that for 2 hours. But there's some interesting things said, I suppose. But I think that both Breaker and I learned from that Discord hangout, and we're gonna try it again. We're gonna try to have people on again, but maybe in a slightly less chaotic manner. So that's the plan going forward. Because as valuable as it is to have a 2-hour-long discussion about a theoretical tax policy, it may not be the most interesting of conversations to have. Perhaps there are even more interesting conversations out there to have, and so we would like to pursue those. But with that, yeah, I guess we can call that the end of the main show. So that's me saying goodbye. Breaker?
Next show, we're going to have hopefully special guest Parallax to discuss morality and the religious worldview versus the a-religious worldview.
And that will be very interesting. So, with that, all right, peace out, everyone.
Later, Gators!